Hello, everyone. On behalf of the Mercer University Center for Career and Professional Development, I want to welcome you. My name is Cindy Strobridge, Director of Employer Relations and Special Events, and I'll be one of the presenters today. Today's webinar is about preparation for college career fairs. At this time, all participants are in listen-only mode. The webinar is expected to last around 30 minutes. Time permitting, questions will be addressed at the end of this presentation. You may submit those questions through the Zoom chat box feature. This presentation is also being recorded. You'll be able to view the recording later today on our YouTube channel, and a link to the recording will be sent to our participants. Now, I want to introduce you to our other presenter, Kim Meredith.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kim Meredith. I'm the Assistant Director for the Career Center here at Mercer University. I am very pleased to be able to be speaking to you today. I'm very excited about the upcoming Mercer University Fall Career Expo coming up next week, and we're eager to share lots of tips. You can see mine and Cindy's photo here. I'm located in Henry County at the Mercer Regional Academic Center there. And Cindy's sitting on the Mercer University Atlanta campus, and we both travel to the Macon campus very frequently. So we really cover all campuses. And on behalf of the Center for Career and Professional Development, again, thanks for attending today and or listening. We hope this is helpful. So the Center for Career and Professional Development here at Mercer, we have very ambitious mission and vision to equip and empower Mercerians to thrive in the lifelong process of career and professional development. We understand it is truly a lifelong process, and we hope that we're doing well at teaching students and graduates lifelong process. Career is a journey, it certainly is. And our mission is to prepare students and alum to succeed in work and life by providing customized, innovative, and comprehensive career resources. And so it is certainly true. We serve Mercer University alum free of charge for life, and we think that's a tremendous value. I hope lots of alum take advantage of our services. Today's webinar is all about college career fairs. And specifically in this webinar, we have a couple of goals to make sure that you know about the Mercer Fall 2019 Career Expo. And we want to set apart really this word college career fair, making sure that our participants understand the difference between the career fairs that may be advertised out on news media streams and public career fairs. They are very much different. We hope to share tips for underclassmen to see the expo as a good career exploration activity. And lastly, give instructions for our job and internship seekers to follow before, during, and after the Career Expo next week. So as you can see on the screen, that event is going to take place Wednesday, September 25th. It's an annual Career Expo we hold every fall. It will be over in the University Center on the Mercer Macon campus from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Right this minute, we have 87 participating employers that are already registered. Certainly that number could fluctuate a little bit in the next week, and we'd certainly be glad to have 90 or more, but we'll see how that goes. And want to make sure everyone participating today understands the night before the career fair can be just as powerful of an experience for you as the career fair during the day the next day. On Tuesday, September 24th at 5:30 p.m., we're going to host the employers that are staying in the local area for a networking event with our students and alum. It'll be in the President's Dining Room, which is also located in the University Center on the Macon campus. So we want to take advantage of these employers who are staying overnight, and they are very eager to come over and network with Mercerians and shake hands in a very casual atmosphere with some appetizers and just a night, an hour and a half of casual networking. And this can prove to be very beneficial to your career as well. And if you're planning to go to one or the other or both, we'd be pleased for you to do so. You can register for these events. You can come to both. So specifically using the phrase college career fair, I want to make sure that participants understand that the college career fair is very attractive to the employers who are specifically looking to fill positions that require college talent. And that can be much different than the public area career fairs and so forth that you might hear about, because many of those would promote very good jobs, but specifically may not always have employers there to recruit college talent for internships and jobs. It's just a great place to search for an internship. So we can't emphasize that enough, because we realize employers are coming to campus. They realize they're coming and that they are very eager to speak with freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors, graduate students, as well as alum. Again, they're seeking college talent for their positions. And so it winds up being a phenomenal opportunity for employers to come on campus, because it's a lot of bang for their buck too. And public career fairs, you know, I like to tell people those are not as vetted, if you will. You know, here at Mercer, our Center for Career and Professional Development staff have spent an immense amount of time vetting the employers that are coming to campus, making sure that they have bona fide opportunities and that they're credible employers. And so we naturally know that this is a very high quality experience taking place at Mercer, but also occasionally there are some partner career fairs that we promote. For example, we'll have one in April each spring that is a consortium of colleges, and those are also good as well, because again, the college career centers are vetting the employers and the employers are coming for college talent. So again, just delineate between college career fairs and open to the public career fairs. And I know some of our students and alum have gone to the public career fairs, and we get feedback all the time that those are often very overcrowded and maybe overwhelming. And we certainly know here at Mercer University specifically, our Career Center staff works very hard to support our Mercerians. We have a support table that'll be available to, and many of our career counselors and coaches walking around answering questions. So we hope it's not scary and not overwhelming, and certainly it's not overcrowded, but we hope hundreds and hundreds of Mercerians show up, certainly. So to that point, I want to make a little pause here, because I think for ages, people have thought of career expos and career fairs, which by the way, those terms are pretty interchangeable, that people have thought those were for seniors or for upperclassmen. But I'd like to dispel that myth now and just take a moment to say that it's really an appropriate career venue for freshmen and sophomores as well. I've got 3 bullets here of some sample wording that an underclassman could use as they introduce themselves to employers at the networking event or the expo. And I think employers would be very impressed to know that you are there to explore career fields. So I like to tell students that this Career Expo is a wonderful world of work exploration activity. If you're unsure about what you're going to do specifically once you graduate, or if you're entertaining a couple of different things, there's no better time to meet with employers. They're coming to your campus. There's just no better time to come and do that exploration. They're right there at your fingertips to ask questions. And some of the employers even offer visits or maybe even a job shadow day, just various opportunities to engage students earlier and earlier in their college career. So they're really much more inclined to accept a visitation from a freshman and a sophomore than many people think. So we'd like to welcome underclassmen, specifically freshmen and sophomore, and we know that the juniors and the seniors are going to turn out in droves too, because they're seeking internships and future jobs. So for tips for preparation, which I understand if you're attending this webinar and you're listening to it now, then you're very interested in preparing. And really that's key. The time that you're going to put into preparing for the event here in the next week is going to pay dividends. So we have a couple of tips for you before the event, during the event, and even after. So certainly we're 1 week out from the Career Expo at this time. So it's time now to start preparing your attire. And so I think specifically for upperclassmen who are seeking that internship and job now, it would be important to suit up, if you will, to have that interview suit prepped and ready. For the underclassmen, people that may be experiencing the fair from an exploration standpoint, I would think business casual would be appropriate. Understanding we're not talking about our casual weekend wear or our sporting event wear and things like that. That would not be appropriate. But again, upperclassmen, time to suit up. So prepare your attire. And we want you to log into Handshake and study the list of employers that are attending. All of the 87 employers that we have registered are viewable in your events tab in Handshake. And I just logged in a few moments ago, and we have a little over 20 employers that are scheduled for the pre-career fair expo networking night the night before. And those are listed in a separate Handshake event, and you can sign up for both events right there in Handshake to let us know that you're coming. Also, time to develop your resume. Hopefully many of you have already been working on that if you're planning to put the resume out there for job and internship search. But if you didn't know, once you upload your resume into the Handshake career platform, it automatically prompts our staff to give you a review of your resume and feedback within a 3 business day time period. So if you want to upload your resume and get our eyes on it, do that now, because again, we do have a 3-day business turnaround. And times like now, right before a career expo, certainly we get very busy and that list of resumes gets very long. So don't put that off. And specifically, I would think for seniors, it might be very important for you to consider getting career networking business cards. This is not going to be any business card of an employer, a previous employer, or anything like that, but rather more of a personal career networking card. These are easily purchased from a site like Vistaprint or your local printer. They're very inexpensive and can prove to be very powerful networking tools, especially for those that are looking to land. Now, maybe choose a buddy or somebody who's getting ready for the fair, or a loved one or someone to help you practice your handshake, your introduction, your talking points. Sometimes it's good to write down your talking points so that you can solidify those to memory. We certainly don't want you to come across scripted, if you will, but the more you practice and you think about what you want to say, the better this comes off when you're having these encounters with potential employers. Purchase a pad folio, which is just a very slim notebook, something that you can keep a stack of resumes in that's very easy to carry, not a big tote bag or briefcase, and certainly breath mints. That's always good. And again, if you haven't already, find a friend who'll go to the fair with you. I think sometimes that can relieve a lot of the nerves that people have about these kinds of encounters. So talk about your resume really quickly. I want to have you think about, when you look at the employer list, if you are job and internship seeking, it is recommended for you to see if you can find some employers that you know that you specifically want to talk to that day. And if you do, for example, you might take the top 3 employers you're interested in. Why don't you consider looking at the job openings on their site and or in Handshake? See what's available, begin to get your thoughts together about how you would promote yourself for those particular employers. And you can certainly customize your resume with an objective or a headline at the top that even gives their name. And it certainly lets that recruiter know that you've taken the time to prepare and that you specifically targeted them, which I think is a positive message. So do plan to bring more of a generalist copy of your resume as well, because you know, and we recommend that you are most likely going to have an encounter with an employer that you didn't necessarily plan to talk to. And in that case, you want to have more of a general version of your resume. But mostly we want to make sure that you're ready with at least 20 crisp copies, error-free, very up-to-date and ready to go. Plan to arrive on site maybe 10 minutes before it begins. I would say 10 to 1 is a window of time for participation in general, because we know sometimes employers may like to pack up early. So if you arrive at this Career Expo next week by 1, I think you'll have plenty of time, depending on your agenda, to visit with employers. But again, for arrival, it's good to be on site at least 10 minutes before you actually go on, if you will, with speaking to employers. It gives you that moment to take a look at the floor map, see the list, gather yourself, and be able to go in confidently. So we are going to have a student and alum check-in table at the entrance of the event. We'll have adhesive name tags available for you to put on that day, which I think facilitates conversations with employers, and a brief information packet available to you. During the fair, make sure to silence your cell phone. You don't want that distraction. And again, we're going to have the floor map available. You'll take a look at that, familiarize yourself with where the employers are located, specifically any target employers you're thinking about. And maybe consider warming yourself up by visiting a lesser preferred employer booth. This is just one strategy that I've heard over the years. I think it's worked well as students have tried this before. Maybe not going to your top preferred employer first, but rather stopping by a couple of other tables and getting yourself warmed up, shaking hands, introducing yourself. And certainly we want you to come across sincere to those employers as well. And don't be afraid to take a break during a career fair or career expo, because I think that's necessary. Gather your notes that you've just learned about the employer, write down anything in your portfolio or note paper that you have brought, and maybe get some water. Take your time and use discretion and courtesy when accepting all of those giveaway items that employers always tend to bring. It gets to be too much to carry, and it's just cumbersome when you're visiting around with other employers. So just use your discretion and try not to go to the tables just to pick up the giveaways. But I really want to encourage participants to be open to speaking to employers that you didn't have in your plan, because those moments of happenstance can be very powerful in your career path. I think we've heard again and again that people often turn out to choose employers or paths that they didn't plan for. And that's important for you to allow that kind of conversation to happen by stopping by and visiting with employers you may not have necessarily targeted or even known about. I'm going to turn it over to Cindy, and we're going to keep going with these good tips.
Thanks, Kim. I want to give you all a few helpful tips on making sure you have the proper handshake when you address or are meeting an employer. So first, make sure you make eye contact and offer a sincere smile to show that you're happy to be where you are. Be still and face the employer you're greeting. You don't want to offer a limp hand because it will give the impression of weakness. However, this doesn't mean that you should crush the other person's hand. Be firm, but not overpowering. If the other person offers a limp hand, give a gentle squeeze. This can be a cue for the employer maybe to grip your hand a bit more firmly. Your handshake should not go back and forth or side to side. Do not pump the other person's hand more than 3 times, or the greeting may become a bit uncomfortable. So as you can see in the pictures we provided here, there's on the left-hand side where it says yes is a great proper handshake. The arm is extended and the hands are firm. And on the right-hand side where it says no, you can see the person did not fully grip. They're gripping the fingers instead of the full palm, and it's more of a limp handshake. So let's make sure we give strong, proper handshakes at the expo. Now, when you're talking to employers, you want to be positive and be very confident. You also can't just walk up to an employer and say, hey, what do you guys do? That's likely to be met with a bit of a blank stare and maybe some awkward silence. So as Kim mentioned before you lead into talking to an employer, make sure you've done some background on exactly what their company does. This is a very crucial moment for you because it's your first impression that you'll make with this employer, and this will form much of what the employer's initial thoughts are of you. You want to introduce yourself, indicate your program of study, your year level, and tell a little bit about your search and interest. This is basically your elevator pitch. You should be able to smoothly and confidently deliver this introduction to make sure you practice ahead of time. As I mentioned, if you've studied up about the employers, which are all still available on Handshake, You'll be able to know exactly the types of questions you want to ask and most likely the types of positions they may have available. It's also okay to ask one of the employers for a business card so you can follow up with them after, and I'll go through more about follow-up on our other slide. Now, when you are meeting with employers, you'll probably talk to quite a few of them, and it'll be important to take some time after you meet with them to maybe make a quick note about their name and about their position. Should they have not given you a business card, you can follow up with them later, perhaps finding them on LinkedIn or their company website. Here are some possible questions to ask employers. Hopefully you would have already done your research, but we have given you a couple sample tips here. I'll go through just a couple of them. So the first one, what positions are you mainly recruiting for today? What are common career paths within your organization? This is pretty good for, as Kim mentioned, some of our underclassmen students as a way to really get to understand what the organization is about and if it's a good fit for their current majors. Also, another question, what kind of training programs do you have for new hires? This will kind of tell you the quality of whether, what type of resources they put into their new employees and the type of hiring programs they have. And I'll let you guys read these a bit more. Our quick tip at the bottom, it says, it is important not to solely rely on these sample questions. Be sure to thoroughly research the organization and devise 2 or 3 questions of your own, especially for the companies that you're really, really interested in. It'll really go a long way to show a good impression on their behalf. So after the fair, right when you get done, it'll be important for you to go ahead and make some notes out, especially with the companies that you thoroughly enjoy talking with. Hopefully you will have lots of business cards and names that you've written down. You should probably put this information into a personal database so you can organize these contacts and make it easier for you to find them in the future and to follow up. So we suggest you can do a regular address book, notebook, you can put it in Excel, kind of whatever works best for you to keep yourself organized. We also suggest that you plan to follow up with each employer that you were really interested in about 2 to 3 business days after the fair. That can be just a quick email regarding, hi, so-and-so, this is so-and-so from Mercer. It was lovely to meet you at the fair. Attach your resume and say you're still interested in either the job position or an internship, whatever you discuss with them during that time. I just want to remind you again about some times for the Career Expo. We put this in here twice just because it's such an important event for Mercer and for all of our students to attend. So again, the Expo is happening next Wednesday, so a week from today, September 25th, on the Macon campus in the University Center from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. I also want to hit on a point that Kim talked about the Padfolio. We oftentimes see students walking around the Expo with a very large and heavy backpack. The Expo can get very crowded with a lot of students and you're kind of all bumping into each other or bumping into employers. So if at all possible, please leave your heavy backpack and school equipment back in your residence hall or perhaps somewhere in the UC with some friends who are waiting for you to get done. It'll just make it easier all around for you to navigate and not be uncomfortable when you're walking around the fair. And again, our Expo night is the night before, Tuesday, September 24th. And as Kim mentioned, we already have 20 or so employers and we expect that number to rise. We also want to touch on some upcoming career fairs that Mercer will be involved in. As we just mentioned, the Fall Career Expo is this next Wednesday. We have our healthcare fair on our Atlanta campus in early October. This is for students interested in any type of healthcare field. We also have our Higher Atlanta Fair at the end of October. It's an alumni-only fair. So if you're an alumni listening to this webinar, you're more than welcome to attend. More information will go out to our alumni database at a later date. If you're unable to attend the Expo in September, but you're really interested in coming to a fair, or you didn't see an employer that you wanted to see, they may be coming to the spring fair. So our spring fair annually happens every February. We also have an educator fair that happens in February on the Atlanta campus. And our final fair that Mercer helps with is the April GACE, the Georgia Association of Colleges and Employers statewide career fair that happens here in Atlanta. And there are typically over 200 plus employers that attend. And it's a great way to use all the skills you have learned at previous fairs to talk to even more employers during this time. We just want to make a quick point of this. You've invested a lot of time, money, and personal sacrifice in your college education, so make sure you take advantage of all of the university resources available to you. That includes our office, the Center for Career and Professional Development. We're equipped with career experts whose mission is to prepare you to succeed in work and life, so please make sure you attend our events and come to the office and talk with us. We want to make sure you're successful in all your career endeavors. At this time, we'll be taking any questions that you all may have. Please add them in the chat feature below, and we want to thank you for attending today.
I'm not seeing anything coming in. Just give it another few seconds, see if anybody's thinking. So I think we're ready to conclude, Cindy.
I think so too, Kim.
All right.
We want to mention again, oh, okay, we got Lance coming in. You said a published list will be posted in Handshake. That's correct, Lance. A published list for our Career Expo will be available in Handshake. It's already there. You can see all of the employers who are registered. Currently, that's 87. I'm sure we will also post somewhere the list of employers attending our networking night the night before.
Yeah, it's in a separate event in Handshake. If you look for the pre-career fair, Career Expo event, the list of employers is in the body of that event message.
Great. And Tiffany has asked, dress attire for the evening for the night before.
Yeah, so I think if you're networking, that you'll at least be business casual to interview attire. And I've noticed, and there's been a conversation in the Center for Career and Professional Development, that we've noticed more and more employers actually wear business casual attire. We see many employers wearing polo shirt and khaki slacks or black slacks or something. And so I think that type of attire is appropriate these days. I don't think you should have to worry so much about an interview suit both days, but of course that's your preference, and it must have something to do with what your agenda is, and if you're trying to land full-time employment as opposed to explore and network. Recommendations for non-traditional students as far as networking. Again, I think it's just important to relax and realize, especially for non-traditional students, you guys come to the table with so much work and life experience. I hope that that would be a source of confidence. And I love to point out that our non-traditional students are lifelong learners. That's definitely a point that should give you confidence, and even perhaps a talking point. That completing a Mercer University degree at this institution certainly is not an easy thing. You've worked hard at your academics, and all of those points are strong for you to bring to the attention of employers. And don't forget to mention technology skills and research projects and presentations that you may have done. I think it's important for you to think about your Mercer experience and what you've accomplished and things you've been proud of. that you've been able to do while being enrolled at Mercer. All of these can be turned into a talking point. I hope that helps. I'm watching the chat screen, so if anybody has anything else, I'm happy to speak to that. So again, the Center for Career and Professional Development staff will be in attendance at the Expo and at the networking event. We love to participate. We love to be there and be available for students and alum to answer questions and do the coaching that we love to do. It's the reason we have this job, and we love to see you thrive in those environments. So just if you see us, don't even hesitate to come and ask us. So, you know, if you need advice, you need a little motivation, encouragement, that's what we're here for. Thank you guys for participating today. I'm excited to see you next week.
Thank you all. And just a reminder, we'll be emailing you a recording of this video at a later point today.
And don't forget, it'll be on YouTube.
That's right.
Thanks, and we'll see you soon.